Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcasts, the Wrestle Talk Podcast. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the...
Good evening, wrestling fans. It is the Tuesday night, once again, time for the Wrestle Talk Podcast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to party. With the holidays coming and, everything going on, it is just so busy around this time of year, but we are so glad that you can make it here for our show tonight. And we'd like to welcome you, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching our replay. We want to thank you for being here because we are here for you guys, the fans. That's right. So as always, I cannot do this by myself. Unfortunately, we had to call an audible though. Our normal host, Renee the Night Owl, will not be able to make it tonight, unfortunately. But, that's okay, because pinch hitting for Renee the Night Owl is the one, the only, Road Dog, Big Sexy.
What is going on, my friend? How are you?
All right. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
I'm doing good. You ready for Thanksgiving?
We're getting there, Still got some stuff to do to be ready, but we are getting there. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I gotta work tomorrow, and then I do have to work a part of a day on Friday, but Thursday gonna spend some time with the family. Probably go see mom at the home on Thursday, and then I'm going over to my aunt's or my cousin's house for a little Thanksgiving dinner. So it's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, always a good time. When you can get together with family members, as long as you like them, that is. And,
I like most of them.
Anytime you sit down and eat, is a good time.
Exactly. Because, I will say I can eat turkey all year long. I am a big turkey fan. So I love me some turkey.
Oh yeah. Turkey and, ham and all the good stuff that goes along with it. I tell you, it's a wonder we're not in a food coma all year long as much as we eat those, Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're in the time of the year where we're eating a lot more than we probably should, But you know what? It's good. It's good to get to spend time with family. And the next 2 weekends, I actually have wrestling shows I have to go announce, so it's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, always. And as always, tonight we've got all of our segments lined up, with high spots, and we've got Party Mcfly coming on tonight,
Yeah, I believe that's the WDWA Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right in that?
That is correct. He was the Rookie of the Year. He just recently graduated from the WDWA Wrestling Academy. So it's going to be exciting to talk to him and see what all he's got coming up and where he's headed from here. So, but as always, before we do that, we got a bit of house business to take care of, as we always do. So let's go ahead and scroll these sponsors across here. As always, we want to thank our great and wonderful sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation, Dewan Mills, Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media. That's Jeremy Carp and those guys over there doing a wonderful job covering sports. Little Popeyes Designs, where you get your Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, and the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, the FWWC, ladies and gentlemen. So, we couldn't do this show without them. And as always, we have members of the FWWC tuning in. Susie Haas tuning in.
She's already complained about we haven't even done the segment yet, and she already knows what's coming. Maybe she's got PTSD with the segment coming up. So it's
could be. And Aaron Wallace is out there today. Happy birthday, Aaron. Yesterday was his birthday. So
bring home a winner Friday, Aaron. I'm counting on you.
But yeah, so always grateful for our fans and always grateful to be here. But as always, before we get going, you know what time it is, Rodell.
I know.
So it is that time, ladies and gentlemen, where if you would remove your hats, place your hands over your heart as we pay homage to the best damn country around, that of which being America. You have to bear with me. My computer's running a little behind tonight, but
oh man, I mean,
brings tears to your eye every time, or blood to your ears, one of the two.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I just can't. So, but yeah, I mean, God bless America. But it's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good week. I'm a little behind. Wasn't in any of the production meetings, so everything's gonna be kind of a surprise to me. So I think it's good. But I think we're gonna make it through. We're gonna do this. So we got this. There's a lot going. I think we talked about last week. There's so much going on in wrestling.
Oh yes, there is, and of course tonight, though, I know is very heavy Survivor Series wise, with Survivor Series coming up, and of course there's one topic in particular that you can't help but bring up if you're going to talk about AEW, which we'll get to tonight, and so it's going to be an interesting night, I'm sure, and it's plenty to talk about.
Brings me a tear to my eye and a big headache when you know what he's talking about. And I completely agree. Thanks, Aaron. That's a good one.
So, all right. What do you say we go ahead and we hit this music and go ahead and get into some high spots? Start talking some high spots.
Let's do it. Roll that DJ money.
Mic check. Yeah. All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like lamb chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop. And non-stop like a runner speakers of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a spark flash, look like a barely fly. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast. Now they know we about to start the show.
DJ Money always hitting hard, I tell you.
Hitting that money. Getting that money.
Always love hearing that. But all right, let's go ahead and get into it here. Let's get that randomizer all fired up, and let's see what it comes up with tonight.
Hey, that's Drew McIntyre and Rhea Ripley.
Yes, it is. So I believe the question is, if I can get this thing to work with me. Where did it go? Ah, here it is. Drew McIntyre claims he has not actually joined Judgment Day, but he has joined the War Games as their fifth person. Do you believe him? Yes or no?
I guess I'll go. I'll go first because
Go ahead.
I can kind of believe it because he kind of wants to be on his own. However, as he said last night, he's got Jey Uso who he does not trust in a cage. So he's getting what he wants to help out somebody, and it's gonna be I am looking forward to War Games. I will have to watch it after my wrestling show or watch it on Sunday afternoon. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a good. I think it's gonna be a good match, and I think that Drew is going to look out for himself.
Yeah, see, I kind of go back and forth on that one. I think it is just an alignment, though, with Judgment Day. I don't believe he has joined Judgment Day. Drew has kind of always been, the lone wolf. He really doesn't join groups, doesn't go with the fads. He is what he is. So, it's kind of a 50-50 whether he really has or not. But honestly, I don't think he has. And now I don't know who. I've got a couple ideas that booking wise would kind of throw some people into, oh my goodness. And we kind of talked about one of them last week, and it would blindside people. But I more see somebody on Cody Rhodes' team turning on Cody Rhodes' team than I do Drew McIntyre joining Judgment Day. One of them turn out to be Judgment Day. And last week we talked about, could you see Cody Rhodes doing a heel turn? And I actually could see where Cody's hyping this thing up, and right now everybody's behind Cody, and then all at once he just screw you, and he's actually Judgment Day the whole time. I could see it, and as a booking thing, it would go over as a complete surprise to most if that happened. But
I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think that's where they're going to go. But then again, I don't know because I don't know that whole Judgment Day vibe. We got Finn and Damian. It's just kind of weird. So
yeah, it is. So I don't know. And, of course, there's been those things where they've had friction within Judgment Day and made you think Judgment Day was going to break up. And now they're adding to the group, and so I don't know. There's a lot of dynamics there that they could go with, but just the way they keep playing, where they ask Jay to join Judgment Day, and they ask Drew to join Judgment Day, and they ask Seth to join Judgment Day. I can see where that would probably be somebody joining Judgment Day one way or the other. Just the question is, who would it be?
Yeah, and it's good to see the Night Owl is watching us tonight. Love you, brother. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Can't wait to talk to you again soon. But he made a good point in this next comment. Cody's gonna be. Sorry, I
think we're both trying
to. That's what happened. That's what. Oh, Haas just left. I think Haas accidentally clicked himself out. But that would only work if they turned Roman into a babyface and Cody goes to Judgment Day, because I do believe Cody is probably going to be headed to SmackDown to go after Roman for you clicked yourself off accidentally, didn't you? I mean, I've clicked myself.
I thought maybe you kicked me out.
I wouldn't do that to you. So, but I was just saying that Cody turning heel, Roman would have to turn face, and I don't think you're going to have that. I think Cody's going to finish his story at Mania, at least, and he's going to be headed over to SmackDown, which is I think why he was on SmackDown this past week, to kind of start that ball rolling down the hill. So that's just my opinion. Things can change.
So shout out to Jared out there, and Drew, and so good to see you guys.
Jared thinks that Cody is going to win the Elimination Chamber. And that's another thing. Some people say that Gunther's going to win the Rumble. I don't know. I don't know. Of all the people, I think that would be the good thing. That would work. I mean, it would add more to the Cody story, but we got a lot of time to talk about that. So we got to talk more about Survivor Series, because not only are we talking about Drew in the Survivor Series, I know there was another question I saw about something else that's happening for that War Games match. So while we're talking about the War Games, are you pulling up the question?
Well, we can go ahead and skip to that one. I was trying to get myself back in line here. Where am I at?
We actually know what we're doing. We know what we're doing.
When our systems will work right.
Right.
And sometimes we'll say something about technology, but in all honesty, this really is a technical issue here with me tonight.
And sometimes it's just user. We're just not technologically superior. But no, Randy Orton is the fifth man for War Games. Are you excited to see Randy Orton's return? It got a good response. I wonder what the reaction will be on Sunday when he actually comes out with the team. And did you see that Jey Uso in the background was a little scared? Because if you remember, that's the one thing about with Hunter and his booking of things. He pulls back from storylines before, but the Bloodline kind of took out Randy Orton, and that was the reason why he has been gone. So is that gonna play into things? And is Randy gonna drop Jey at some point in the match?
That's a possibility too, and there's just so many different possibilities out there. And I am on one hand looking forwards to Randy coming back, because Randy he is a hell of a talent. And I'm glad to see him coming back, and hopefully he can stay healthy, and hopefully he'll be the apex predator we've known him to be. But then again, as long as he's been out, has he lost a step or two? Until he gets out there, I just don't know.
Apparently he's in really good shape, good athletic shape. But being in athletic shape, I've always been told, is different than being in ring shape, knocking off that ring rust. So what has he been doing behind the scenes? And this is kind of the same thing with when they were talking about having Jade be a part of the War Games match. Do you really want Jade Cargill's first match to be inside of a War Games match? I do worry about Randy Orton back health. That's going to worry me, because I'm not 100% sure. I hope he's not rushing things. So
yeah, and I hope he's not either. It is a very good point, that this being his first match back, these type of matches can shorten careers. And so, do you want your first match back to be one that could possibly shorten your career and put you right back on the shelf?
But in another realm, this is also a match where you can hide him, because there are 10 people in the match. There are 10 total people in the match. So you could kind of hide him. You don't have him come out first or second. You have him come out in the late. You have him come out would even say you have him come out last. That's, be the last person in, because that shortens his time in the ring. And also you can kind of hide him. I mean,
honestly, not that WWE is predetermined or anything, but I totally expect for him to be the last person to enter the ring. And when his music hits, you are completely going to hear the roof blow off of that place. And I don't think they'll do that first. I don't think they'll do it in the middle of the match because it's going to be too much of a distraction when it hits. So I don't look for him to be coming out in the middle. I look for it to be more towards the end when he comes out. But
I think you're going to have Cody start the match because this War Game, we talked about it last week. War Games is his daddy's baby. Dusty came up with the War Games match. So I think he's going to, and Dusty always used, I believe if I remember right, Dusty was always one of the ones that started the match. Dusty and Arn, if I remember, were always started the match. I think you're going to have probably Finn Balor start for Judgment Day, just because you want guys that can have good cardio and can go the whole match.
Yeah, and Jared's saying he thinks he should have accepted Nakamura's open challenge instead of forcing him into this high-level match. And I could see that, but there again, you have that story of Judgment Day being the one to put him out. So who better to bring him back against than Judgment Day? And it could be that, maybe this is where Randy wanted to come back, specifically because there's so many questions about is he going to be the same Randy? Is he completely healed? What's this going to do to him? That he wants to come out, he wants to be in this type of match to show I'm still the man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a critic of Randy Orton over the years. He's just been, at times, he's a really boring character. His last work that he's done with Riddle has been some of his best work that he's done because he looked like he was having fun out there. He legitimately, when wrestlers look like they're having fun, that's when they look the best.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it's one of those things we just have to wait and see. So
yeah,
shall we head to another topic? Or
yeah, let's throw another. We got a couple more. I know there's a couple other Survivor Series topics out there, but let's see what the randomizer does. This was your AEW topic, wasn't it?
Of course. So you can't go by without talking about the fact that Will Ospreay has officially signed to AEW. And AEW made such a big deal over we are going to sign the world's best professional wrestler and made such a big deal over this. Was all the hype they made worth the payoff of unveiling Will Ospreay as the new signee?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not a New Japan guy, so I can't speak on that. I know basic New Japan stuff. I don't know. There's just something I'm not a big fan of Will Ospreay about. I haven't clued into it yet, but what that bothers me about him. But it is a big signing for AEW. I mean, and there's also a rumor out there. I believe House of Wrestling has reported that MJF has secretly signed a new deal, but they're not going to announce it because apparently at the last pay-per-view of the year, World's End or whatever, is basically days before his contract expires. So they're going to play it up till then, but apparently he's rumored to have signed for like 3 or 4 years. AEW's kind of secretly done a lot of re-signings. Scorpio Sky announced that he re-signed for, I believe, 5 years. Someone said that Britt Baker has also re-signed a lot of them were on their initial deals with AEW. So
yeah, and Jared thinks that the hype wasn't worth it and it was predictable. And I tend to agree with that. There were so many people that kept saying, "Yep, it's Will Ospreay," and I mean, I will also admit I do not watch a lot of New Japan, uh, and that's only because there's only so much time in a day and so much wrestling out there and so many different things that need to get done that you can only watch so much.
I can barely keep up with WWE and AEW. I have to get my Impact results from the internet or in my referee friend. I don't watch NWA. I don't watch MLW. I only catch New Japan occasionally. Ring of Honor. I don't have the Honor Club, so I mean, but there's a lot of wrestling out there, and there's only, like you said, only so many hours in a day. Plus, people work. People have to take care of family members.
But you know, I've seen a few matches involving Will Ospreay. I don't know if I'd call him the best in the world, which they did. They kept calling him the best. But you know, they seemed very excited about the fact they were signing him, and for anybody to get him, you know, that is a big coup to them to get somebody like that. It would have been a big coup for WWE to sign somebody like that, you know. But I don't know that it was worth all the hype they were trying to give it. You know?
Yeah, I don't agree with the hype. I mean, looking at Tony Khan here right now. Tony, you don't have to have a major announcement every single week.
No, you don't?
No. I don't need a graphic showing up on my Twitter feed or X feed or whatever you want to call it saying Tony Khan has a major announcement. Eventually, you're going to be like the boy who cried wolf with all these announcements. I mean, I don't know. I know that
it's simply to try to get people to tune in as far as what's his announcement now, just to get the eyes on the product is what it is. And it comes a little too much for me to get excited over anymore. I mean, for them, it's, you know, we have a major breaking announcement to make tonight. And then they'll say, oh, tickets are going on sale next week. That's your major breaking announcement.
And can we talk about Friday? That why did Tony Khan not use Collision as a pre-show to the pay-per-view? Because they went up head-to-head against WWE SmackDown, and there is no way, even on a good night, there's no way they would have beat. SmackDown drew. I just looked up the numbers. SmackDown drew 2.2 million viewers. I can't talk. Collision, 270,000.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're. And I don't know why you wouldn't use Collision. And someone in our wrestling group that I talked. That Jared's in and stuff. It's like, why not use Collision as a pre-show, like a buy-in almost, you know, and have. I'm sure they could have talked to the network and move it up in a couple hours. I don't know what TNT was showing at that time. Probably a Law and Order reboot or Law and Order rerun, but I mean that's just. Tony Khan is reminding me of Michael Cole from 2011. Oh God, the anonymous general manager. God, gee, Christmas. We went back a little bit. So,
and Jared thinks that his next announcement is that he's switching coffee brands.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that there's an alternative, but. I'm just looking. I just looked at the viewership because I meant to look at it earlier, but 2.2 million to 270,000. Okay, that's a big difference. I mean,
well, and I mean, not just that. You look at the size of the arenas that AEW performs in, and you look at the number of empty seats that they have, and then
yeah,
look at the size of the arenas that WWE performs in, and look at the number of empty seats they have. It's there's no comparison. I mean, it's not saying that they definitely have the better product or anything, but it's just they don't have the fan followers in AEW that WWE has. Now, part of that's because they haven't been around as long. Part of that is just people don't like change. So why am I going to switch from WWE that I've been with all these years to AEW? Some of it's, they're just a WCW reboot.
I still remember the day that NXT went up against Dynamite, and it was me and you hosting the show, and we were like, and you were like, NXT is gonna win for the simple fact of it being a habit thing. On Tuesdays you watch NXT, and it was a lot closer than we thought it was going to be, but NXT did win that night. But and also there were like almost 2 million people watching both shows total when you combined them. It was like 1.75 million. But that should be what we cheer, because there's. And
Jared, you're right. Collision does need help, even with the Edge appearances, Sting and Flair. They're not drawing, but at the same time, I mean, you look at those names: Edge, Sting, Flair. How many years have they been around? So how many years do they have left? They've got to find younger talent that is going to draw people's interest. Now, hopefully, I know that's what they're looking at with Will Ospreay. He has several years left in him. So that's younger talent. He has a following. Hopefully he can carry them in the future. But they're picking up people that people are like, oh, him? He's still around?
and Collision, it's on a Saturday. That's just, there's so many other things to do on a Saturday than sit at home and watch a wrestling TV show. I record Collision usually because I'm watching the Blues play, or I'm out at wrestling shows like I've got the next 2 weeks. It's just, there's so much to do on Saturdays that people aren't going to make Collision a part of their Saturday night viewing.
Yeah. Now, like I said before, if I'm home on a Saturday night, I will watch it.
Yeah.
If I'm not home, I will DVR it. But there again, DVRing it on Saturday, then you got football on Sunday, and then you got Raw on Monday, Wrestle Talk and NXT on Tuesday, and you're back to AEW again on Wednesday.
And you've probably already seen spoilers on, like, if you go on Twitter or you go on Facebook, you've already seen spoiler alerts about what has already happened. So you're like, that doesn't seem interesting to watch, so I'll just skip it.
Right. So when do you really have time, unless you come home late that night and sit down and watch, which I won't say I haven't done that before.
I've done that.
If there's been something they've been amping up and it really piqued my interest, then yeah, I'm going to come home, I'll sit down and I'll watch it right away. But if there's not something that has really piqued my interest, or I'm really like, oh, I got to find out what happened here, then I'm probably not going to watch it that night. And by the time I get around to watching it, I've already found out what happened, and there's no point.
Right. Exactly. There's just too much going on. I don't know. But yeah, it's football season. So, everyone's watching football on Sundays, or this week they're going to watch football on Thursday. And I think there's a couple of games on Friday, and Sunday.
Now when football season's not in, oh yeah, I'll sit down and I'll watch it Sunday after DVRing it on Saturday. No problem. But during football season, they're going to lose.
you got the Raiders to watch.
Exactly. So all right. Well, I think pretty much we're getting to the point where on that one we're kind of beating at a dead horse there.
Yeah.
So let's see. All right, this one actually has two parts to it.
Ooh, a two-part question.
So let's see here.
MJF.
All right, the first part is MJF retained the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. How would you rate his championship run thus far from 1 to 10 super kicks? So
It's
what
been
do
up,
you think, Chris?
It's been up and down. I mean, he's doing some of his best character work he's done in a very long time, or since I've seen him. I know he's a fairly new competitor. So I'm going to go kind of in the middle, maybe a 6, maybe a 7. I'm sure if Jared, I know Jared has an opinion on I think Jared has an opinion on the MJF thing, but I'm not.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. With the way it goes up and down and everything, I do feel that he is a big draw. He's done decent with his title run. I mean, you look at it. I had the stats the other week, but I forget what they were. In his short period of time, he has defended his title more than Roman has within the time frame that he's had his title. That is not overall, but in the time frame he's had his title, he's had more title defenses than Roman has. That's for sure. But I would probably give it probably about a 6 or 7 as well. And actually, that kind of leads into the second part of the question. When we start mentioning Roman and MJF, and that is whose title run has been more impactful, Roman's or MJF's?
I would say Roman. I'm just saying Roman because when he's done it for so. Okay, you have to look at Roman's title run in like 2 segments. When he won the title, he was defending the title almost every month. He defended it a lot. Okay, he come back from leukemia. He had to drop it because of various reasons, because of COVID, because he caught COVID and stuff like that. Near this tail end, everyone's complaining about him because he's not defending the title, but there's been a report out there that they're just trying to get him to WrestleMania. They're trying to get him to WrestleMania because he has the leukemia, and apparently there is scar tissue, and there's that's making his body not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Strong and able to hold. He can't hold up a full-time schedule anymore. So I think they're now trying to get him to WrestleMania. I think MJF could have a long reign if they let him. There's enough top talent in AEW that MJF could have some really good feuds.
Yeah, I agree. It has been on and off for Roman, and you do see more defenses out of MJF. But I do believe, Roman's people are still more vested in Roman with his every other month or every 3 month of defending than they are MJF defending every month.
Yeah, I would guess that you're going to get a Roman Reigns title match at Royal Rumble. I don't know against who. I think you'll probably get him he's going to be involved somehow. He's going to have a match at Elimination Chamber because Roman's going to draw the money. And then I think you're going to have his match against probably Cody at WrestleMania, and then he's probably going to take an extended leave because he's not, I mean, and it's only a report. I've seen a couple of reports that he's not capable to hold a full-time schedule right now. So, I mean, he's still in good shape, but what is he going through internally with that? And MJF has said that he's wrestled more than Adam Cole has made him wrestle. He's half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, which I don't quite understand. I'm just glad they didn't give it to the Guns on Saturday.
Now you are trying to get Jared.
I am poking that bear, and that match was to set up the storyline for the rest of the show. So and MJF can wrestle when he wants to. So,
yeah, he definitely can. I don't completely understand the storyline, of okay, MJF and someone else will defend. If you can't, I mean, it's just like the WWE women's titles. One of them gets hurt, and what do? Oh, who wants the championship?
Right.
Who wants to be my partner? Come on.
Those women tag titles, they're cursed. They have to be cursed, right?
You don't do your titles like that. That just, in my eyes, it just diminishes the title if you're going to do it that way.
Yeah, it's and I know this isn't on topic right now, but speaking of the women of the WWE, did you notice that there were 3 women's matches on Raw this past week? Xia Li and Becky, Nia and Raquel, and then that fatal 4-way women's tag match. Have you noticed that the women have been more prominently featured here recently? And that has to have that's a stamp of Hunter. That has to be, right?
Oh yeah, definitely got to be a stamp of Hunter, because I think with Vince you might see 1, maybe 2 women's matches a week, but you ain't going to see 3 women's matches. You're not going to see a whole show of women. You're not going to see the women doing the main event under Vince himself.
And there were 5 or 6 segments that involved the women, because you had backstage segments with Rhea, with Zoe. You had the Adam Pearce yelling fit with all the women's tag teams. There was a lot of backstage stuff too.
But then again, you look at the women in the WWE now, and you look at the stories going on with the men, and especially when you're looking at 5-on-5 matches, that takes a lot of your talent into one little block.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of harder to book a whole show around the men unless you tie it in with the 5-on-5 and stuff like that. So you kind of have to increase the women's role a little bit, otherwise you're going to fall short on content.
That is true. I mean, and the build-up for Survivor Series has been great. The quality of matches recently on TV has been. SmackDown was a little weird this past week I know they were building for the women's War Games match, but it just was so, like, I don't know, that some of that didn't make sense to me, but
real quick, while we're talking about Survivor Series, let's run through what they have actually announced so far for Survivor Series, which is the men's War Games. Drew McIntyre and the Judgment Day versus Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton. You got the women's War Games match where you got Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi versus Bayley, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka. You've got your Intercontinental Championship match, Gunther versus The Miz. You've got the Women's World Champion match, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. And then you got Carlito versus Santos Escobar.
Oh, did they actually officially add that to? Or I did not see that they officially added that. So, but that'll be that's going to be a good match. Plus, you have the Shinsuke Nakamura. Apparently, there's going to be an open challenge.
Yeah, those matches there actually came directly from WWE.com. So,
that's a pretty good site. That's a pretty good source. Not gonna lie, it's a good source.
So, yeah, that match is official for Survivor Series. So it really is interesting. But even with all of those matches, another topic that was thrown in there, if you were the booker for Survivor Series, what or who would you add to the Survivor Series card?
It's a good question.
Is there anybody or anything on the card that you would like to see that's not there?
Let's see. Looking at I'm looking at time frames, because as we discussed before, Hunter is more of a minimalist when it comes to shows, but overbooking. He doesn't overbook shows. He does. I feel like he's trying to book and like WWE, like he books when he booked the NXT stuff. 5-6 matches that are good. War Games is going to take a little bit longer because there's 10 people, and I believe it's 5, and then every 3 after that. I don't know. I forget the rules, but you'll have the same with women's War Games. I think you're good. I think that's a good amount of match. I mean, there could be a pre-show match would be nice. Just get a couple of people on the show just to have them on the show, but
the only thing that surprises me looking at the card is you don't really have Bloodline on the card.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't have a SmackDown. You don't really have a SmackDown main event. The SmackDown main event seems to be like the women's War Games. So
yeah, because you don't have Roman on the card anywhere.
You don't have Logan Paul.
You don't have Logan on there anywhere. But Bloodline wise, you don't have Roman on there. You don't have Jimmy on there. You don't have Solo on there. Where's the Bloodline represented in this other than Jay, who technically is no longer Bloodline?
Yeah, I mean,
they have been the story all this time, and now all of a sudden they're not even on a pay-per-view card. That's surprising to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I now that you think about it, yeah, it'd be like even just have Solo on the show just for, like a Solo in LA. Put Solo in LA Knight there. You don't have LA Knight on the show either. I just thought about that. Now they can add something on Friday, so we still have a couple of days to go for that. So I mean, we'll see.
And like you say, there is the Nakamura Open Challenge out there. Who's going to answer that? That remains to be seen.
I don't know.
But there again, he's been feuding with oh shoot, why did my mind just go blank?
Who are we talking about?
Nakamura.
He hasn't really. Well, he's been feuding with the Alpha Academy. Yeah, the Alpha Academy. He's ran through the Alpha Academy, so I mean,
exactly. So you would think if somebody was going to answer the Open Challenge storyline wise, it would probably be the Alpha Academy.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be a good show. I can't. I'm looking forward to it. So I mean, we'll go from there.
So all right, well. Right now, it looks like we have our resident chaplain in the back. So let's go ahead and bring him on here.
Oh, I haven't heard this music in a while. Hit it.
I'm still getting used to it's. It's been a while since I have actually
ran
the music. So now I got to find where everything is again. Here it is. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and bring him in here. He is our resident chaplain of the night. So let's go ahead and get into that snippets of truth with Big Daddy P.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, Big Daddy P? How you doing?
Long time no see, guys.
I know you've been teaching I believe you teach on Wednesdays, don't you? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, I was, yes, but see, God's got a funny sense of humor. See, he knows when to overwork me and when not to. And so over the last 3 months, yes, it's definitely been difficult. Tuesday nights were evenings that I was teaching, but it's been a couple of weeks since I've done that. But I've just been trying to catch up with work. Just seemed like when I started to teach, because for every hour I teach, it takes about 6 hours to study. So I wasn't working very much while I was teaching, so I wasn't making very much money. The moment I stopped teaching, the business just took off. So I have been unbelievably busy taking on new products and new ideas. Just got into t-shirt design through a friend of mine. So we're starting to build up some shirts, and business has been busy. I cannot complain, but I'm thankful.
Yes.
I think at this time, being thankful is very important.
Well, I mean, you're in the right time of the year, because what's Thursday? Thanksgiving.
That's it.
I mean,
absolutely.
And I can see on the picture behind you, you've got NXT probably on in the background.
No, I haven't even gotten to that yet. It's actually just on a screensaver. But I'm noticing that the light behind my TV is signaling my voice. So every time I talk, it's moving. So I gotta fix that first. That's annoying because I do a lot of talking. But.
And I'm just not gonna lie. Anytime I watch NXT and I see the one guy from the family, the two stacks or what, or guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Lorenzo. They just won the belt again.
Yes, every time I see him, I automatically think of you, because you're the one that like said that he started with you in your area. So
yeah, he's come a long way, man. He's doing real good. He's a trooper. I think he's actually going to be getting married soon. He's dating a wrestler. What is her name? Anyway, he's engaged. I think I heard that somewhere. But
are you performing the ceremony?
Huh?
Are you performing the ceremony?
No. Probably not, just because I'm not familiar with her, and so knowing him, he's probably gonna go with stuff because he don't have time to go to church. I'm sure he's extremely busy. So, but again, what a great time in wrestling, man. Except I was very disappointed, since you were talking about SmackDown and even Raw. With the announcement of Randy Orton, the way they did it, they should have surprised it even more. But I think they're trying to sell Survivor Series tickets at the last minute,
and they're trying to head off the whole thing about they don't want the Chicago crowd to hijack the show and keep chanting CM Punk. And
well, they're going to do that anyway. And who knows if Punk's not coming or not? We don't know.
That is true. And I just looked it up. Stax is dating Santino Marella's daughter.
That's who it. Good catch. That's absolutely right.
Google is my friend.
Dude, I feel you.
Yeah. Sure. So are you ready for the Thanksgiving holiday? Ready to eat some turkey and spend some time with the fam? And
we got 13 people coming, and we always open our home for Thanksgiving to anybody that is without a home. or without a place to go for Thanksgiving. So we're looking forward to that. We've got 2 turkeys and ham, and my mother-in-law is bringing all kinds of sides, and my wife is making pies, and I'm going to have to really fall in love with that insulin for about a week.
Yeah, I understand. I kind of wish I was in the Tennessee area. I might stop by and have a piece of pie, but
anytime, anybody's always welcome. You know that, even if it's not Thanksgiving. But what a great time to be in wrestling, man. A lot going on, a lot of wonderful things going on too. I mean, there's a lot of good business being done all over the world, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, and we kind of need a distraction sometimes from the way the world is. The world is still a crazy place. You know, you still got what's going on over in the Middle East. You got what's going on in Ukraine. You got
and why we're negotiating with terrorists, I'll never know.
I don't know.
Yes. So much for the fact that the U.S. doesn't negotiate with terrorists, but that's a different subject. We're not a political show, so
I know. Although you do have politics in wrestling.
Sometimes the politics in wrestling suck more than the politics of the world, because I left wrestling early in my career because I hated the backstage politics. I hated the talking behind people's back. You can't work here because you work here, and I'm like, I don't play that game. I'm friends with everybody, so I just no. I don't do that kind of. I don't like that. That's just not me.
I agree, brother. And any time I've ever worked at promotions, we didn't have drama. Only one time, just one time out of all the shows we've ever run, did we have drama. Only because everybody knows they get paid. Everybody knows they get treated right, and that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. You know, because again, you have a sport that is the most physically demanding sport. I think more than football. I think pro wrestling is the most physically demanding sport in the industry, for obvious reasons. There's a lot of injuries right now too. Guys that are out of work, that can't work. Only if you work at AEW are you still paid. So
yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like you were a promoter. When you were a promoter, you were one of those people that had like stacks of that you walked into the venue with stacks of envelopes ready to go, and not.
Yeah, and actually, for the first half of my career, I always paid up front, and then because they knew that we had the money before the show even started, which is the key. I mean, you don't want to rely on the door for anything, because you never know what your door is going to have.
Right.
I mean, and I never paid him in hot dogs.
Right. I can't say that. Unfortunately, I've been through that where it's like the promoter comes up to you, is like, "Ooh, the house was kind of light tonight. We can't." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's strike one. I only give a few chances." So, I mean, but
especially driving 100 miles for $20 is asinine. It's insane. But again, the dedication that these men and women have for this business, it's great to watch. We had Pretty Empowered too. The NWA girls, who were Tommy Henry's daughters.
Mm-hmm.
They were JPWA students. Both of them are one of them. I think they both have belts now. Yeah. I think they're both on an NWA too.
Well, and I just found out the other week that LA Knight is actually from my area and was an independent wrestler in my area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not to blow his gimmick up or nothing, because I'm not from LA.
Just fine on his own. The fact that he headlined a PLE says everything you need to know.
And he worked a lot of these like small shows in that area. In that area. Yeah, and it's just I like seeing that. I can't wait to see some of the guys from St. Louis that I have watched since they've started, you know, get moved up in the world. So I mean, I didn't really have anything to do with a lot of that stuff, but it's nice to see people on TV that deserve it. So
I like how they they push Xia Li for so much, and then she loses to Becky Lynch last night, and they run a commercial saying the unstoppable will be at NXT. Just got stopped. Did you not communicate ahead of time?
Might not be the best time to put that graphic on there, but
and also too, it's great to see the heck is her name? Dang it. I know her as something else, but now she's in she's from NXT. She came out with oh my goodness, the older I get, the harder it gets. Short, stocky girl. Dang it. Just got moved up from NXT.
Tony Storm?
No. Little short.
I don't know why I thought that one.
But muscular, really buff, but really short. She was with how embarrassing.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about, but for some reason
Ivy Nile. She also came to 127 twice with JPWA. So to watch her also, but wait till she goes up against Nia Jax. Boy, what did Rodriguez do to get that the other night?
Right, and we were actually talking about that about how the women were being featured more prominently on this past show. There was 3 women's matches, plus there were like 3 backstage segments. So it's like Hunter's booking the women. So
yeah, but I don't know how she didn't get hurt, man.
No.
That move, that first, because her normal move when she comes off the second rope, Nia. But what she did before that,
the power bomb where she
came before, man, I thought she was flat. That girl was flat chested already. She's even flatter now because of Nia Jax, man. Nia Jax is looking strong, but also too, I saw something about the Rock's daughter possibly coming to the bloodline, but that could just be rumors.
We'll see. I mean,
who knows?
But all right, well, let's go ahead and get into the snippets here. And I see Aaron Wallace has put a request in. He needs prayer for his 4-year-old niece who has COVID.
4-year-old with COVID. Ish. The good news is because she's so young, her body will fight it off in no time at all. So, God will.
And prayers.
I know Susie and I still have a friend that's fighting stage 4 cancer, and I actually ran into her the other day, and she's skin and bones, and has really aged since the cancer has taken a hold of her. So.
Cancer will do that. Cancer's a bitch, man. It's
terrible.
Life-taking. It just sucks the life right out of you. But again, God works through that. And hopefully, there are numbers of people who I know who are not only struggling with physical ailments, but, emotional and financial. I mean, man, I just got done with dinner with my wife at O'Charlie's. It was $3.50 a cup for coffee. $7 for 2 cups of coffee. I said, what the hell's going on here? Insane.
And you didn't invite me to come down to Tennessee and have dinner with you?
Well, that would have been, I only had about 10 minutes notice, so it kind of would have been difficult.
Okay. I'll let it slide this time.
They closed all the O'Charlie's in St. Louis, so I don't have an O'Charlie's anymore.
Oh, great. They have a great black and blue Caesar, which is Caesar with steak. Gives you your steak and salad all in the same time.
So unless you know of anybody else, Chris, that
I don't, no one's reached out to me, but just there's a lot of people I know that are dealing with a lot of stuff right now. So
especially during Thanksgiving and Christmas, because you've got people who are used to having people around for the holidays, and when you've set a table and that person doesn't show because they're gone, there's a lot of depression. There's a lot of just very sad people. So our prayers tonight will go out to them as well.
And honestly, I just remembered that today was my dad passed away 10 years ago today. So
shout out to the snitch who says he's better than O'Charlie's, and I have to agree with him.
Oh, God. All right, snitch, go away. Just go away. Anyway.
I think that's what I like about Wrestle Talk. You let anybody comment.
We let see what happens when we open the door. We let anybody in here. So
that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, Road Dog. I'm gonna have to bring this up in our next staff meeting. I mean, your treatment of our guests and our fans. I tell you, this.
Anyway, I saw last. Never mind.
So, okay, let's go ahead and give it to Perry at this point.
Well, first of all, during Thanksgiving, every day is Thanksgiving for our family, because every day we're so thankful for all the blessings that the Lord continues to deliver. I think about countries and that are struggling in war and battle right now, and I just think it's death in itself is really hard to deal with, and when you're dealing with war, which is in war, you have death, but we need to be thankful that in this country that we are still strong enough that people haven't come to attack us. Although within our country, we have a lot of people who are committing a lot of crimes, but we need to really just be content and be thankful for all that we have, because everything that we have, our jobs, our businesses, our goal, all the stuff that we have, our money, our time, it all belongs to the Lord. I mean, he has it. So I just want to encourage you today that if you're struggling during Thanksgiving or the holiday season, to cheer up and know that God is in control, even in the midst of chaos and everything that's going on. Don't lose hope, because he will never, ever, ever leave us. He will never forsake us. He loves us. He wants the very best for us. And even in a world filled with people who are filled with anger and hurt and bitterness, and let me tell you, I know a lot of people who are believers in the Lord who have lost family members. My pastor lost his wife almost 4 or 5 months ago, and he's still struggling with it, but he's able to move on. And I think that we just need to, instead of worrying about all the things that have taken place in our past and keeping our eyes on what's behind us, you can't walk forward and look back at the same time. Otherwise, you run into something. Whatever is behind you yesterday, leave it behind. Look forward, be content, and be thankful, because it can always be worse. Just remember that. And if you've never trusted Christ, if you've never had a relationship with the Lord, it has nothing to do with religion. Religion is man's way of trying to prove to God how good they are, while Christianity, or a relationship with Christ, is understanding how good he is to us. You cannot impress a perfect God. So while I'm here, let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for your goodness and grace. I thank you for the prayer requests that we receive for this 4-year-old who's got COVID. Father, we know that you are the great healer. We thank you in advance for the work that you're going to do there. For those, Father, that have not submitted requests but have things on their mind or on their heart, you know beforehand what those are. So we thank you in advance for answering their prayers, for continuing to meet people at their needs. But Father, I pray for revival, that people would trust you, that they would not trust what the world has to offer, but they would trust you, knowing that you are not only perfect, but your plan is perfect. And you brought us here to love and encourage one another. And so for all those, Father, that we know that are trying to do their very best, we know you love them, and we know you have a great plan for their life. I pray, Father, for Wrestle Talk, that you continue to grow it. Especially pray for Renee and Joe and all those that have been going through stuff this year. We're 1 month away from the end of this year, and we want to thank you for all your goodness and grace throughout these 11 months that we've had, and know that even though there's chaos and all this junk going on, we know that we can trust you. We know that we can turn to you. And for those that haven't turned to you yet, Father, for those that haven't called upon you, I pray that you would draw them closer, that you would put a fire under them, that they would learn to trust you and trust you alone. And I want to thank you for all that you continue to do for our lives, and just ask that for those countries and people that are suffering, that you would comfort them beyond ways they've never dreamed of, that they too, just like we, can be excited about this wonderful relationship that you have established. I thank you so much, and I love you, and I ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Good to see you guys. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm going to try and be back every week now.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we always look forward to seeing you.
And Renee's out there watching, and he's always says, always great to see you, Big Daddy P. So,
much love, brother. Much love to you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm so thankful that that you're still keeping on, and that there's still something to talk about, because the day that this podcast doesn't talk will be a very quiet day.
Exactly. Big Daddy P, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for coming on tonight, having some fun with us, and we hope that you have a good time, and we'll hope to see you next week.
All right, guys. Love you. Have a wonderful holiday. Be safe.
You too.
All right. Always great to see Big Daddy P there. And our guest is backstage here, so we're going to get him on here in just a moment. But before we do, Chris, how about you go ahead and shout out our wonderful sponsors for us.
Oh, our great! We'd like to thank the Wrestle Talk Podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors: Royal Mills Transportation, the CEO Dewan Mills, Nobleman's Barbershop, KC, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, the one and only the Maestro Jeremy Karp holding things down there, Little Popeye Designs, those beautiful Wrestle Talk Podcast tumblers, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. So it's been a good show so far.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to talk with you there, Chris. And we hit a lot of wrestling topics and everything.
Still here, God, snitch! I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'll see you in Farmington. Be nice to me when I'm in Farmington.
Hey, I am a fan of the snitch, and the snitch is a fan of me as well. So hey, be nice.
I'll try. I guess I'll try.
So, all right, let's go ahead and get our guest in here.
I'll let you go ahead and introduce him, because this is you. This is WDWA. This is your wheelhouse.
All right, sounds good, and I appreciate that. So, at this time, I'd like to welcome in a man who he's been in wrestling for about 2 years now. He graduated from the WDWA Wrestling Academy, and he is in a tag team called Party Time, who they have been together about a year now, and this coming Saturday night will be in competition for the tag team titles. So let's put our hands together and welcome the one, the only, Party Mcfly!
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hello, gentlemen. How are we today?
All right. Welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast there, Party. So happy to have you, and was glad you were able to make it with us tonight. So
happy to be on. Thank you so much.
This is my co-host, Chris Rodell. He's out there in the lovely Midwest. Of course, he's been doing some research on you. He's actually watched some of WDWA's older stuff that is on YouTube. And I think there may be a few of you on YouTube as well. So I'm sure he's probably seen a match or two of yours that's been on there. So
we got this. It's gonna be a good interview. It's nice to meet you, Party. Can I call you Party? I'll just call you Party.
Yeah, by all means.
So, to get started here, as I said, you were the rookie of the year at WDWA this year, which I know was a big honor for you to be nominated rookie of the year. And now going forward, you and your tag team partner Colton are going for the WDWA tag team championships. And I know Colton, he had been out of action for a while due to surgery. So how surprised were you when they announced you as rookie of the year, and what did it mean to you to already be the fan favorite and winning the awards that you're winning?
So, quite honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. That was honestly the last thing I expected. So my whole thing with this wrestling journey is that my biggest goal is to just get better each and every day, of course. And I focus a lot on training and trying to just attend any other show that I can get to, be on any card that I can be on, and just, perfect my craft. So when my timeline came up and I saw that pop up, I was almost ecstatic. It blew my mind. And it meant a lot considering the fact that it came from the fans.
So, and what would it mean to you to actually win the tag team titles this week? I know the other month, you and Colton actually had a match against Big Money Inc. to see if you could qualify for contendership. That unfortunately you guys came up a little bit short, but based on the heart that you guys showed and the fight that you guys showed, Big Money Inc. was willing to go ahead and give you the shot anyway. And not that they're handing you anything by any means. I mean, you guys have completely earned your shot and deserve this so much. But what would it mean to you guys to actually win those tag team titles?
Quite honestly, it'll mean the world. So, like you said, we earned this opportunity because we showed our heart, our determination, and our work ethic, basically. So to win the WDWA Tag Team Championships from Money Inc., no less, would quite honestly put a stamp on our approval as a team and kind of show the wrestling world that there's another tag team that's in the competition ready to fight. Not only us as individuals in a single, but us collectively as a team. We're here to stay, and we're here to show everybody, no matter who you are, what we're all about.
So will this be your first championship that you've held? If you win the tag titles this Saturday?
That would be correct. Yes, it would.
Are you looking forward to hold that title over your head?
Oh, of course. And hey, look, the name is not just the name, so I'm looking to party right after we win as well.
Hey, party time! We're going down the streets of Martinsburg or something.
Oh, hey, look, I live in Northern Virginia, so DC, Ashburn, Martinsburg, it doesn't matter. We will find a party.
You're gonna party all the way from Martinsburg to DC, aren't you?
Hey, I by all means.
Hey,
so when did you
gonna spring for the limo and bring all your partyites along?
You know what? I'll get back to you on that one. That's actually a good. That's actually. Let me
like,
actually.
I'm gonna think about that. So, what is you? I know I feel like I ask the same question to everybody, but I always like to know, what is your first wrestling memory?
Oh wow, that's a good question. So, okay, are you speaking like in general, or are you speaking as a whole?
In general, what is the first thing you remember seeing in wrestling? I mean, on TV.
So,
You're gonna say something
All right,
you're gonna say something that's gonna make you really young, and it's gonna make me mad because I'm an old guy. So
yes, and no. So it's almost a 3-part to this story. So I had a cousin, right? So part of my wrestling journey, I give credit to him. So he had Here Comes the Pain and Shut Your Mouth, PlayStation 2, right? So
good game.
I'd be at great grandmother's house and I would play those. Okay. So that's 1. 2, he had 2 VHS tapes. It was Best of Raw, Raw is War, volumes 2 and 3. So that was my first taste of the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
And where it began was when Triple H interrupted Test, the whole Stephanie marriage ordeal. And it kind of ran all the way to when China won the Intercontinental Championship. So that's kind of the timeline that it went through, those 2 tapes. And so the third is me watching wrestling, me becoming a true fan and periodically viewing it each and every week. And that was me flipping the channels. At the time, I didn't have cable in my room, which is basic network television. I skip through and I see John Cena speaking. For whatever reason, I sit and I just stop and I watch. And I look back at that episode now, and I do not remember anything between the beginning of the show and the main event. So all I remember is John Cena talking, Carlito's debut, he interrupts, and then I remember the match, him winning the U.S. title, and the rest is history from there.
Nice. The first, what made you want to train to become a wrestler? Was it like something that you always wanted to do, or what?
So that's a good question. So as the years went on, let me see here. I'd say it was probably somewhere in high school where the thought was teased on and off. So I had the thought mildly, and growing up, I would fight with my cousins. Like we would pretend to be wrestlers, all the classic stuff that you would hear. And so I had the thought, but I always would talk myself out of it due to my size. And so then later on in high school, around like sophomore, junior year, I thought, and I was like, well, okay, I'll go for school and I'll go for college, but I'll go for a producing for music, but also journalism as well. The journalism will help me be a commentator, which will help me be in wrestling. So it was like I was always trying to find a way to be a part of wrestling. And then I had moved. I actually went to Hedgesville. So I moved out of the Martinsburg, Hedgesville area and went to Texas, had aspirations to go to UT. And long story short on that, I knew about Booker T's school, and I was sitting there thinking, again, contemplating, well, maybe not. Even thought, and then long story short, fast forward about a couple years ago, early 2019, I finally made a decision and was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. And what helped me make the decision with people like Velveteen Dream, people like Tyler Bate, people like MJF, those people who are around my age, if not younger, that are already on TV. And with me already having aspirations of being a performer and an actor and everything like that, I was like, I'm falling behind. So like, why not? And then the other thing too, of course, was you don't know if you don't try. So
that first day of training, though, that first time you took that bump, that was probably a shock to your system, wasn't it? The first time you took a.
So the first time I took a bump, yes.
Don't lie.
And it wasn't at training. So here's the funny thing. I had a friend of mine, obviously huge wrestling fan. He was doing training on and off. So he offered me a trip with him to Delaware to this place. And I don't remember what the organization was called, but it was myself, him, and another friend of ours that we were just kind of like free balling it. So it was just the three of us kind of just going through stuff. That's the first time I ran ropes. That's the first time I took a bump. And that was actually the same night as AEW Revolution 2021. Whatever Sting debuted and Christian was the surprise. And the Moxley and Kenny Omega for the Exploding Death Match. Whichever Revolution that was, it was that same day.
Oh, the exploding death match that fizzled at the end. One of our co-hosts, Renee, the Night Owl, was like has a couple of things saying he loves the coolest name he's seen in a while. Automatic connection with the fans, pure genius. And he also wants to know your opinion on Swerve Strickland right now. What do you think of Swerve?
So to answer your first thing, a couple of my trainees when I first started, I had a different first name in mind. I always knew McFly. I had a different first name in mind, and one of my fellow trainees was like, "Well, what about Party as a playoff?" And I was like, "You know what? I don't hate it." And so I went with it. I knew I could use it. I knew I could play along with it, and well, the rest is history on that. Clearly, with the name, I'm a huge fan of Back to the Future. I actually cosplayed him and did him for Halloween one year, and so minute that he wears a red shirt in the movie. So I found a red shirt that says McFly on it. John knows what I'm talking about because he's seen this shirt on numerous occasions. So I looked in the closet one day and I was like, why not use the name McFly? Now, little did I know that not only was there other McFlys in the wrestling business, Sami Zayn was once formerly a McFly himself, but I digress. Now, to go on to answer that question on Shane Strickland, I love Shane Strickland. Isaiah Swerve. I wish I came up with the name myself. Shane Swerve, he's the man. Like, I look up to him, especially him being a fellow artist as well. So, by all means, I'm a huge fan. He's one of the people that actually study. So.
Awesome. I'm gonna send it back. I'm gonna throw it back to Haas because he knows more. He knows more about what you're doing up there in that WDWA than I do. You're killing it. I know you're gonna win the tag titles this Saturday. I better come back. I better see it that you're holding up that tag title.
Oh yeah.
And Renee also, I think this is the one. Yeah, he also said doing a lot for being so early into your career. And it's truly great to see young, hungry talent like that. So he was actually going to try to be here tonight, but with work issues, he wasn't able to make it. He is also the one who asked me to pass on the message to you. Thank you for the decent picture. We have so many pictures that come in that are just absolutely horrible. It's great to see somebody who has a decent picture.
Look, as a mentor of mine has said, presentation. That's mainly what this business is about. So I take pride. And again, like I said, I've always wanted to be an entertainer. I always wanted to be a performer. So I take great pride in my presentation, from ring gear to my moveset and all the above. Entrance music, everything. I take great pride into that. So I'm happy I was able to come through on that one.
Yeah, he says you can't make it in Hollywood without a great 8x10. So,
Ain't that the truth?
But yeah, we definitely thank you for that. And Susie says hello. She's there in the comments and keeps throwing stuff out there to you. So we try to show them ever so often here. And she says hello.
I gotta give you and her credit. My number one fans over there. Okay, I guess. If I don't see y'all, I can't be Party. That's all I can say.
So, what's your feelings on? I'm sorry, Haas. I need to ask a question about a referee that refs up in that area. What former co-host of the Wrestle Podcast, Nightmare Jones? What are you, Joe Lance? What do you think of him?
Joe is cool. I like him as a person. Joe is
as a person.
Joe is Joe is an amazing guy. He's an amazing friend. Okay, him and I, we don't have any beef with each other or anything like that. All I can say about Joe is that he does his best, and that's all you can do.
Sometimes we wonder if he can count to 3, but that's beside the point.
All right, Hoss, go ahead.
So, actually, one thing I just recently noticed. Actually, I think I just noticed it today. Was that you actually this past weekend were at, I want to say it's MTWA, something of that nature, or it's Mid Atlantic Wrestling or something. You were at, and was that your first time there? Was that your debut there?
No, so it was not. So MATW, Mid Atlantic Territory Wrestling, it's a promotion being ran and orchestrated by Preston Quinn of the Extreme Horsemen, along with C.W. Anderson. And so I've been making my way up with them for the last year now. So I've been working with them, and they've been great. So they've been it's been a great organization to be able to have another place to call a home and another place to be able to perfect my craft with veterans such as Asafi, such as Victor Andrews, and the list goes on. So Doug Delicious. So being able to be there was fabulous. So no, it's not my debut. I've been working with them for a while. And it's just been, like I said, another place to perfect the craft of Party McFly. And I've been trying to get Colton up there with me too, so Party Time can wreak havoc as well in the tag team division. So
You just want to run that area up there, don't you?
of course, I run the world, baby. This is what it's all about.
Oh, he doesn't want to run this area. He wants to be on WWE running the whole shebang. Come on now, not just the area.
Look, the goal is to earn a contract. That's Impact, that's NWA, that's WWE, that's AEW, and the list goes on from there.
Have you had the chance to do any extra work for any of the WWE or AEW yet?
Extra work? No, I have not. Tryouts? Yes. So I've done a bunch of seminars. I've done a bunch of tryouts. I've done a Tom Pritchard seminar. I've done a seminar with Ricky Reyes. I've done a seminar with Cahagas, the Tokyo Monster.
Cahagas.
And I've done a tryout with the NWA just recently. So I've been getting up there.
So one thing I absolutely love about Party is, his wrestling gear is not your average wrestling gear. I think one of Susie's favorite outfits he jumps in the ring with, which I should have pulled up pictures of these, but one of her favorite one is the Sesame Street singlet. I have also seen, and is one of my personal favorites, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Where do you come up with your wrestling gear?
Listen, I'm eccentric. If you can't tell by the clothes I'm wearing now, I'm a loud person. Okay. So I've always been like that. And also too, it keeps me a kid at heart. I'm that guy who would still sit and watch Sesame Street just for the nostalgia of it. Okay. Muppets. Look, me and Kermit are best friends. That's all I can say. So anytime I can sit and I can think of something like that eccentric, that extravagant, I'm like, perfect. And of course, I find the shoes to match. I find the knee pads, the elbow pads, everything, the tassels, and it all comes together. And the one thing too that John didn't mention is that I always have a jumpsuit that matches the gear. Okay.
Well, you spend a lot of money on gear, then, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I do.
And I believe he's even had a Elmo singlet when he was wrestling before, haven't you?
Yes. So I tell you all the ones that I've had. So we have a basic red, we have a basic black, and a basic white. And what's cool about those is that some of those are pretty name brand. So like my white singlet, it's an Adidas singlet. Therefore, I have the Adidas shoes to match with the Adidas jumpsuit. So anytime you see me come out with a little Run DMC look, you already know what to expect. And then from there, of course, we have the Sesame Street. We have the Simpsons. I tried to get a SpongeBob, but that was sold out. We have a leopard print There's a couple others too that have yet to debut. So yeah, we definitely think outside of the box on that one.
Yeah, and Renee he was just watching Animaniacs last week, so
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. Yeah, yes.
I feel that we're gonna get some Animaniacs gear here soon.
Look, you know what? That actually inspired me. So just keep watching.
He is definitely one of the hype men at WDWA. That is absolutely for sure. We all love to see him come out. Although I believe I'm the one that coined the phrase "partyites" for him.
That is true.
So
that is true.
And it's always a good time when Party is around.
It sounds like it.
So, Chris, what other questions do you have for him?
Yes, I want to keep it going.
What does okay? I'm trying to figure out how to figure this question out. What does the future hold? What is you said your goal is to get signed by somebody long term, short term? Is there somebody on the independent scene that you really want to face right now?
So, loaded question. So to answer your question, the answer is yes. To name you someone very specific, there's not one specific person out there that I want to face above the rest. One thing that I can definitely tell you is Mid-Atlantic is not the only place that I've been scoping out on the independent scene. And there's a world championship that I've been eyeing as of late that I really, and a sanctioned world champion. Let me actually get specific. A sanctioned world championship that I've been eyeing recently that I see as very attainable, and as long as I get in there and earn my way up the card, I can see me holding that belt one day, and that's the Pan-African Championship of Fight Club over in Maryland. So the current champion right now is Suge D. You guys may remember him as Pineapple Pete over in AEW.
Yeah.
Yes. Trisha Dora was a former champion, and so that's one championship that I've been eyeing. The likes of Myron Reed, Mr. Grimm, those guys have been going up there. Chris Andino, he's been going up there. A lot of MCW guys as well. So there's really a long list of people that I honestly just want to just knock out. The bigger, the better. It'll make me stronger.
Well, and one thing I can tell you is, I mean, you look at the size of Party, and you would think he should be going for like lightweight titles or something of that nature with his size. But Party is not afraid to step in the ring with anybody. I mean, I have seen him step to the likes of Clay Jacobs, which were you on that interview, Chris? I believe you might have been.
I might have been. Yeah, I think I was.
I've seen him step to a guy that I don't think his matches are on Facebook yet. Oh shoot, why did his name just go out of my head? The
Jason Curtis.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's been up against Jason Curtis, but the one that was just Mid-Atlantic champion not too long ago, Yi Pak Choi. He stepped to him, and Yi Pak is what, like almost 7 feet tall or something.
Almost. I actually haven't had a one-on-one match with him just yet, but I have been in his presence, and whew, that is a big boy. But like you said,
Yi Pak can pick Party up and throw him across the ring with no problem, but Party will get back up and come back. And so, I mean, he is not afraid to step in the ring with anybody. And Renee actually has a couple more questions he's thrown out here. one
I
of
was
which
just
is,
gonna bring that up because that's close to home because I am in the Midwest.
have you
I'm
taken your show on the road yet? And do you plan to any plans to travel to the Midwest? Because Renee is in the Midwest and Chris is in the Midwest. I know Chris helps with a group, actually a couple groups out there. Renee knows several promoters out that way. So if you have plans to travel out that way, I think we got a few hookups for you.
just with
I do.
just in Missouri. Just know that Missouri is a licensing state, so you have to get you do have to apply for a license and physicals and blood work and stuff like that. Just so you know. I mean, not saying that you can't do it, but I mean,
I'll add that to my list because right now I'm currently licensed in Virginia and Maryland. So I'll add that to my list because South Carolina is another one that's on my list as well. Let me see here. What else is a licensed state? New York, I'll have to get one. Kentucky, I'll have to get one. So yes.
someone said that someone said that Kentucky and Missouri are very similar with their licensing procedures. So if you can get a Kentucky license or a Missouri, you can get the other one. I think that's the one that was the closest to them. So I mean,
Noted.
I mean, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. We got several wrestlers, that you go up with against, and they probably have some pretty darn good matches. I'm surprised Snitch isn't still in the or the Dynamo Pro champion isn't still in here sniping comments. So I mean,
and Renee also would like to know who are some of the smaller guys that you studied when you're in the lab.
Ooh, I like this question. So you guys may be surprised by a little bit of who I study on the smaller end. So I'll name some well-knowns. Well, most of them are well-knowns, but follow me here. So of course you got your Shawn Michaels, your Marty Jannetty's. Let me see here. Who else we got? Your Rey Mysterios. But I like people like Kid Cash. I like people like I study a lot of X-Pac. I study a lot of Chris Benoit's. Let me see here. He's more on the bigger end, but with the athleticism and everything, I study a lot of Too Cold Scorpio. So it's not just little guys that I focus on. It's a big, broad range. Your Cody Rhodes, your Macho Mans. I do have some Jerry Lynn matches on the list here that I look at. In fact, I just looked at and studied closely him and RVD, and I forget which pay-per-view. I want to say it was Living Dangerously, but don't quote me on that. I forget which pay-per-view it was, but
they had so many good matches. They've had so many good matches. You can't really pinpoint one. So
it's exactly. And I've studied so many people that I can't even get you my number ones right off the top of the bat because it's just every week is someone different.
All right, so there were some interesting names there,
But you also said that you don't just follow the smaller guys; you follow the bigger guys too. To counter Renee's, what bigger guys have you watched wrestle or studied?
So I have people like Kurt Angle and The Rock. To go back to your earlier question a little bit, when I first started training, I also took the liberties of doing amateur training as well. So at the same time, I was doing amateur wrestling and I was training professional wrestling to learn all crafts as well as boxing and a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And part of that too was to earn my credits to be able to wear a singlet. Because in my opinion, if you don't know amateur wrestling, you shouldn't be wearing a singlet. But I digress. So Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, all of Team Angle, honestly, right on top of there. Now, for some bigger name guys, I have Barack. I have people like Arn Anderson, obviously Ric Flair, Steve Austin, Scott Hall. I absolutely always loved Scott Hall. On the smaller end, I have Too Cold Scorpio. Obviously, there's Randy Orton. I've looked at a little bit of Buzz Sawyer, excuse me.
Buzz Sawyer.
Some Bruiser Brody I've looked at. Obviously, Triple H is my guy. So there's that. Edge, Christian, Chavo, Eddie. I love myself some Dustin Rhodes. Okay. I love Cody. I love Dusty. But I love myself some Dustin. He's the natural for a reason. So.
Are you excited that speaking? I know you mentioned Randy Orton. Are you excited that he's coming back this week at Survivor Series?
I am. I've been waiting for it. I've been chomping at the bit. So the thing with me is, as your typical fan, I don't watch as much of AEW and WWE religiously like I used to, just because of how I am with the product. The thing is, when you start training in this business, you start viewing it differently. So some things give me a sour taste, some don't, but I still keep up with it. So yes, to answer your question, I am definitely ready. And at the very least, I will watch a pay-per-view. So I am definitely ready for Randy Orton to come back, especially to see him and Cody Rhodes reunite as a team.
At least you'll watch the pay-per-view when you're done celebrating your tag team victory.
Yes, because a lot of the pay-per-views lately have been on the same nights that I've been wrestling. So if it's not a late Sunday night, it's definitely or a late Sunday or late Saturday night. Can't even speak. It's definitely on a Sunday, and by all means, I definitely keep up.
And you said that whenever you watch wrestling, you probably pick out the little, you see the little things that the average person doesn't see. I was a former referee, so I'm always like watching the referees and go, "Oh, that he pulled his count. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't pull your count." That's the one big thing is, and I get told is like, stop watching it like that. I'm like,
you can't help it.
I can't.
You can't help it
because sometimes it's so, and
when you know, and you can't untrain your brain not to know.
And it is stuck in my head from one of the very first shows I did. A senior referee came up to me after the show, and he was this. And I'm a bigger guy. I'm not as big as I was now. I mean, I wasn't as big as I was now, but I was still a heavier set guy. This little referee, probably about 5'3" and 120 pounds soaking wet, who's tougher than anybody that you could ever say. I accidentally pulled the count because I knew the end. I knew what was going on, and I knew it wasn't there. He's like, he pulled me to the side. He's like, if I ever see you pull your count again, I'm kicking your ass. I'm like, noted. Because you can always fix things if you mess something up like that. So
Susie wants to know, who is your dream match opponent, no matter whether they're dead or alive, or even if they're indie wrestler or WWE or New Japan, who would it be?
So, man,
we ask the hard questions, by the way.
You guys keep asking me a load of questions, and I feel bad because I can't give you one.
You can give it. You can give us a couple. We'll take a couple.
So I'll give you two that are past, and I mentioned them already: Macho Man and Chris Benoit. Okay, despite the controversies behind the name, I will still praise him as far as his craft in the squared circle. Chris Benoit is fabulous. And actually, you know what? I'll give you a third one, which is Brian Pillman as well. As far as alive, let me just give you my Mount Rushmore, and that will probably make things suffice. So I have Triple H. I have AJ Styles. I have Roddy Piper. And CM Punk.
I dig it. I'd watch it. I know Hoss would too. So
Cody Rhodes is on that list as well.
I'd love to see Party beat CM Punk. I'd watch.
And I'm sure you wouldn't mind stepping in the ring with Dustin Rhodes either, since you said something about.
Nope. You know what? A little known secret. That's actually one of the schools that I aspire to attend. So
We had a former co-host that doesn't do the shows anymore. Actually trained at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy with Dustin, and it was awesome. He said it was a learning experience, and he already went down there, already trained, because he trained up here in St. Louis with the Dynamo Pro Dojo, so he knew the wrestling part of it. It was more the character part of it that he was learning, that he learned down there. That's what you want, right?
Exactly. Nothing else needs to be said on that one.
Right.
There is always room for character improvement.
So well, we're winding down here with our guest Party McFly, but we do have this thing that we like to do here at the Wrestle Talk Podcast every week. It is our game show challenge, and I have the information, so it's going to be you and one of your fans from WDWA, Big Hardcore Hoss. Do you accept the challenge of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge?
I accept any, as Mr. Haas has said, I accept any challenge and won't back down.
Haas, do you accept the challenge?
Oh, I haven't won one yet, so sure, why not?
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hit that music for the Wrestle Talk Podcast. We actually have music. This is a sophisticated wrestling program here. We have music for this stuff. So let's hit that music for the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. If I can find it, because
I hit it and then it didn't start playing, so I thought maybe we.
You got the music down. That's why. All right, gentlemen, welcome to this week's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestant is Hardcore Hot, the FWWC Hardcore Champion, Hardcore Hoss, as he takes on the one and only Party McFly. In a few moments, I will ask you 3 questions about a particular wrestling topic. Whenever you know the answers, just shout it out. You don't have to wait for me to finish. Just go ahead and shout it out. The first person to win 2 falls will win tonight's Game Show Challenge. Tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is holiday birthdays. I will give you information about 3 professional wrestlers who have birthdays on major holidays. When you think you know who performs it, shout out your answer. The first to win 2 out of 3 falls is your winner. Hardcore Hoss, are you ready?
So we just shout out our answers.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're wrong, we can just shout out as many answers as we want.
Shout out as many answers until someone gets it right.
Okay.
Party, are you ready?
Let's go ahead and try it.
All right. Question number 1. This WWE and WCW manager, known for his megaphone, was born on New
Jimmy Hart.
Hoss gets the first fall.
Oh man! Oh man!
No.
You gotta let him finish the question. Although
Nope.
get it
That's the rule. You just shout it out as soon as you. Yep.
Yep,
Question.
as soon as you know, it doesn't have to. He doesn't have to finish.
Never mind. I'm going to go there. Hoss, Susie has got in your corner. So, Party, just so you know. Question number 2. This current AEW personality has held championships in TNA, Ring of Honor, and WWE. He competed in the Ring of Honor tag team title match at Full Gear. He was born on St. Patrick's Day. Name him.
Born on St. Patrick's Day.
Held championships in TNA, Ring of Honor, and WWE. He competed in the ROH tag team match at Full Gear. So he was MJF.
Samoa Joe.
That is correct. That is correct. One fall apiece. It's the third deciding fall. Are you guys, Haas, are you ready for this one?
See, they got too many championships over there in AEW. I get confused on who has which one.
Gee, I hear excuses. I hear excuses. Party, are you ready for the third and final fall?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. Question number 3. This WWE Hall of Famer has held championships in the WWE and WCW. The second generation wrestler was born on July 4th. This man was also a member of the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. Name him.
Sid Vicious and or Barry Windham.
Barry Windham is the answer. So, Party McFly, you are the winner of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We have winning theme music. So, Party McFly, the winner of the Wrestle Talk podcast game show challenge. And Haas's losing streak has continued in the Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm not very good at the challenge either, so the hosts don't rate very well in these challenges, do we, Haas?
No, and I guess I'll let this win slide.
So before we go, we always like to let you shout out your information. I pulled up the match graphic for you this Saturday night. You're going to be at WDWA. I believe it's called Battle Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, for the WDWA Tag Team Championships. Party Time versus Big Money Incorporated. Get your tickets now. It's in Martinsburg, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, that is correct.
And also,
Martinsburg at the Bennington Fire Hall.
I think those shows at the fire department, the fire halls are always good shows. Just that venue seems to work for wrestling. But go ahead and take a minute and shout out your social media where people can find you on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you got.
My Twitter is mainman at mainmanmcfly, and my Instagram is EZ_McFly.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you for coming on to the show tonight, and you are now a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, and we hope to see you again real soon, and hope to have you back on.
Look, this was too short for me. I need a part 2.
You need a part 2. Hey, well,
I need a part 2.
When you win those tag team titles, we want you to come back on and show them off in the background and have them on your shoulders the entire time. So,
hey, you know what? Don't expect anything less.
Don't expect anything. Well, Party, it's great to see you. Thank you for coming in tonight, and we hope that's a good time. And good luck on your match this Saturday night.
Thank you so much. You boys have a good night, and I look forward to part 2. And John, you let me know when that'll be.
All right.
You're gonna definitely see Haas there this next week. So
yes, we will. Susie and I will see you Saturday night at Beddington Fire Department, and just look forward to another good night of wrestling. Your partyites will be in attendance.
We better. I got a lot more to talk about. Like I said, you guys bring me back on, and we'll continue this.
Absolutely.
All right.
We look forward to it, and we'll let Haas get that arranged for sometime down the line.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. November 25th, Beddington Fire Hall, Martinsburg, West Virginia. Look it up. See my socials. You'll know where. You'll know when. See us and Colton win those tag team titles.
All right. Thank you, Party. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
He seems like someone brought him back up. I did not do that. That was not.
I keep doing that tonight, Chris.
Go ahead. I'm not touching. I'm not anywhere near it. So all right.
I think we got it.
Oh man, but that was a good show. He seems like a fun guy to hang out with. You probably hang out with him and have so much fun.
Oh yeah, Party is a lot of fun, and I tend to hang around after the matches and chat with some of the guys and stuff, and that's how I get to bring them on the show and everything. So I've talked to him several times after the matches, and he's always a good guy to talk to, in character, out of character. He's always just so much fun. So,
well, Hoss, it's been another episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We talked about a whole bunch of things. It was a good show. I think it went well.
oh yes, definitely. We talked a lot about Survivor Series coming up, and we talked a little bit of AEW, and had a great interview with Party and
Big Daddy P.
Got to talk with Big Daddy P, which is always a pleasure. So we just look forwards to coming back and doing it again next week, which is that you and Justin supposed to be?
Possibly, yes. I'm scheduled, but who knows what's going to happen between now and then. So
this is true. So, all right, as always, let's go ahead and shout out the sponsors one last time before we get out of here tonight. As always, we want to thank our great and wonderful sponsors, Royal Mills Transportation, the one and only Dewan Mills out there in Kansas City. You got Nobleman's Barber Lounge, KCMO, Ask for Pete the Barber. Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall. Interstate 70 Sports Media. That's Jeremy Carp and the guys over there doing a wonderful job. Little Popeyes Designs, and where you get your Wrestle Talk podcast tumbler, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group. And if you don't have your Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers and you're interested in them, be sure to hit up myself, hit up Chris Rodell, hit up the Night Owl. Hit any of us up, and we will be more than happy to facilitate getting your order in. You can get your name on them. I should have mine out here so I can show it off, but unfortunately, I left it in the other room. But yeah, so definitely get your merch. Help support the show. We're always grateful for the fans, no matter whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching that replay. We love to have you guys participate in the shows, and just very thankful for each and every one of you. So be sure to tune back in next week for another wonderful episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast, which will be episode 460.
God, 460. Gee,
ever so close to that 540 episodes away.
Yeah, we're going to hit 500 next year. I better go get a tuxedo or something. Or a tuxedo shirt. One of the two.
More than likely a shirt.
Yeah, probably.
I know you ain't seeing me in no tux, so that don't make a difference.
Well, Haas, I'll let you go ahead and take it on home. And thank you, Wrestle Talk Podcast family, for having me on. And I will send it over to Haas to send us home.
All right. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure to talk with you guys tonight and to show your comments. And just be sure to tune in next week for another great show, episode 460. So until then, we'll be seeing you.